Welcome to the Smug Film Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Clark. With me today is Mark Covino.
Hello, everybody.
And Rachel Fox.
Hello.
All right, Mark made a film that you might know by the name of A Band Called Death. It's a very good documentary about a band called Death. Pretty straightforward there. Not much creativity. But
title says it all.
We can forgive that because it's a good movie.
Oh, thank you.
And I really liked it a lot. I interviewed him for the site, as well as co-director Jeff Howlett. Am I saying both those last names correctly?
Yeah,
Howlett and Covino?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Usually people say Corvino.
But there's no R in it.
People throw it in. I don't know why. It's weird.
Come on, people. Stop throwing that R in.
It's a very easy last name. Covino. It means with wine.
With wine?
Yeah, in Italian.
But you're just sitting here with water right now.
I know.
Are you Jesus?
Trying to cut back. Let me dip my finger in here.
Yeah. And Rachel is here because she's a friend of Mark's. She's from Canada.
Yes.
She does something with a theater up there or something.
Yeah, I'm a programmer at the Rio Theater in Vancouver.
So if you go to the Rio Theater and you're like, man, they got some good movies here, it's probably her doing, right?
On some level.
Most likely.
On some level.
She's responsible. If you say, hey, these movies are terrible,
it's not my problem.
not her problem. No. Probably somebody else.
Yeah.
It's a great old theater too.
It is one of the last ones.
One of the last greats, right?
Yeah.
Well, they just did a is it Indiegogo or Indiegogo? I can't remember.
Indiegogo
campaign.
You're sticking letters in like the guys with the R's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But they just had a successful campaign to save
the big neon sign.
Yeah.
It had to be redone. We asked for 15 and we got close to 17,000 from the independent cinema loving people of Vancouver and beyond.
It's so
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
What was wrong with the sign?
Well, none of the lights work, so you can't see
you need
it.
lights for the sign.
It's important. It draws people in like a moth to a flame. So.
Get all those nighttime viewers coming by.
Yeah. It helps.
What's playing there right now? I mean, this isn't going to link up because it's going to go up later, but whatever.
Well, right now, for the next couple weeks, we will be full of hobbits or hobbitses, I believe is the plural.
Do you make like your big nut as far as money on the Hobbit movies?
No, not really. We're a single screen Art Deco refurbished venue.
Nice.
We seat 420 plus, and we only do first runs.
Is that a very specific number for a reason?
I am not going to comment on that publicly. But no, we do a first run movie maybe once or twice a year because when you do that, you're locked in for a couple weeks.
Right.
And as a single screen venue, it's hard to maintain that. So we really only do it at Christmas, and we do maybe one in the summer. Like last year, we did Anchorman. 2 the year before that, Django, and then the rest of the time we do concerts because we've got a full, beautiful stage and indie movies that people want to see. Films like A Band Called Death.
Oh, so you played that then?
We sure did. As soon as
Sweet.
I saw it when we met at South by Southwest, and I saw it and I was like, I don't know, I don't care when, but this movie has to play the Rio. And
damn right.
Yeah, we played it 4 times the first time, and I think it came back. When the band came back to Vancouver, we did another night of it. Yeah.
So you put your foot down.
Something like that. I think. I mean,
You like me because I had a Black Christmas T-shirt.
That's
on,
correct. Yes, that's right. Because I was like, oh my God, there's somebody here wearing a shirt that's sort of Canadian-like.
I gotta represent the Canadian horror.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was good.
All right, so Band Called Death abbreviates to ABCD. Which is your favorite thing in the world because that's all you do on Facebook.
It helps me out.
ABCD all day.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that it's ABCD.
I'm glad you did. It wasn't the original title. I was kind of forced to use it, but I'm kind of happy that.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
No. I'll just say.
Was it full of expletives?
No, it was the original title was "Where Do We Go From Here," which is the name of one of Death's songs, and Jeff and I. My co-director, we had spent 3 to 4 years, making this film, and that was the title. We made trailers with that title, a promo with that title, some posters with that title. It was everywhere. It was, it became our baby in a way. Mm-hmm. And then when it came time to submit to film festivals, one of our producers wanted to change the name to a more marketable name, I guess.
It's a good name,
and
though.
I accept it now, but at the time I was a little hot-headed. I was this filmmaker, I finally have producers, I'm going to tell them this is unacceptable. and I was an idiot, but it is a great title. I like
they're both good titles.
Yeah, it begins with an A, and if it's always at the top of a list at a film festival. That's one of the
true.
reasons why they changed it.
I
and
like
if,
that.
If it doesn't begin with an A, it begins with a B. So.
I gotta make a movie called like Aardvark or something. Aardvark the movie.
Well, you want to know something funny? Our distributors, Alamo Drafthouse. You know why they call themselves the Alamo Drafthouse?
So they can be first in the phone book. Or
Exactly.
whatever?
That's what Tim Leake said. He said there's no
Genius.
reason.
I gotta trademark Aardvark like
You gotta
right now.
You gotta trademark 10,000 aardvarks, and
Yeah, man.
then you're right at the top.
Oh man.
If you begin with numbers,
That's
aren't you
right.
at the beginning?
That's
So-
yeah.
Yeah, but they might get me on a technicality with that one. They might change the rule right after I buy like numbers 1 through 9 or whatever.
God damn it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good tip. So for you budding filmmakers out there, name your movie something really high up in the alphabet. Call it Aardvark or a band called something or other, because that's not trademark. Somebody can come out with like a band called Weezer or whatever. Although that is a letter that comes after D, so that doesn't work.
You could call it a band called Aardvark,
Well,
and then you'd be a band called
Yeah, a band called Aardvark. There you go.
Well, the funny thing is that one of my arguments against calling it a band called Death was that there's a death metal band called Death already. And
a good band on its own.
Yeah,
right?
no, they're great. Very influential in their genre of music. But
Do they fucking hate you?
oh my God, do they hate us? We kind of share a mutual hate, I guess, if you can call it that. I've heard some of their music. I like it. I'm not a big death metal guy, and I appreciate.
But you like a lot of genres.
I
We
love a
talked
lot of
before.
genres. Yeah, exactly. What I don't like is when we made an honest film about a band who called themselves Death back in the 70s, who actually copyrighted their name back in the 70s.
Oh, really?
And then to have this other group, Death, who called themselves Death in the late 80s, come at us, both at the movie and at the band, and try to sue us. That I don't like.
Yeah, that's
And
dumb.
That's ridiculous. And it lasted a year. They had our Facebook page taken down, and then we only got it put back up once we took theirs down. And it was just like, come on, guys, this isn't high school. You know?
Yeah, in essence,
And
it's,
I should say, it's not the band, it's the lawyer that represents the
Correct.
band now, because the lead singer isn't with us anymore.
oh, okay.
So no disrespect to the band, but the lawyer, Jesus Christ. But he's laid off, and
That's good.
yeah.
I mean, in essence, it helps both you guys because the people that know the band Death,
They're discovering, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a mutual thing because if there's two bands with the same name, everybody's happy, everybody benefits. Because when you're Googling
There's-
shit, you're gonna find both, and then you might
there's
find something
totally
you like that
room
you didn't
for-
know or whatever.
Yeah, there's room for both bands to coexist. There's no reason why there needs to be any. And our band never had beef with them at all. Like our
Right.
band's always so like nice to everybody. So
That happened in Canada. Actually, there was a band called Bush in the 90s.
I thought you were gonna say there was another country called Canada.
No, there is. But no, there was a Canadian band called Bush, and then the other British band called Bush came out, and it was like a big legal thing. So I believe in Canada, Bush is actually called Bush X.
wasn't
legal
there
reasons.
also a Nirvana before Nirvana?
I'm sure there was. I mean, no offense to the death people, but
Yeah, no.
I'm sure a death metal band called Death. You know,
There was another band called Blink, and that's why Blink 182 became Blink 182. And I always thought that was funny because it was kind of like if they were trying to make like an AOL screen name or something, and then like Blink was taken, and then it just shot out random numbers, and they were like, "All right, we'll do that one." It was like the equivalent of that for a band name. I always thought that was adorable. So when I first heard about the band, I heard about them on Pitchfork Media.
Oh, cool.
And so I automatically assumed they were some new band trying to sound old because I didn't just skim the review. I just saw
Yeah.
there was a positive review, listened to like a little of the music, and I was like, I'm not in the mood for something that's trying to be an old timey band or whatever. And by old timey, I mean like the 70s. I don't mean like,
With the
ragtime.
tuba and
Yeah.
accordion.
But like I avoided it. Like even though it was good music, I avoided it on instinct because I thought it was doing that thing of trying to sound older than you are and trying to pretend like you're from a different era than you actually are. And then when I heard about the movie, I was like, oh shit, this is actually like old recordings that were discovered and people are now listening to and checking out.
How did you hear about the movie?
I don't know. See, that's a great thing. That's what you want. You want it to be like ubiquitous in the sense that like you just kind of hear about it and you don't even know why, but you just have to see it. Like that's the goal of marketing, I assume.
Well, that's the cool thing with our film. It's kind of had this. I was talking to Rachel about this. It's kind of a cult film in a way. It didn't have a huge marketing campaign behind it.
Most
and,
people know about it though, which is wonderful.
Yeah, which is great. And like as somebody that loves cult films in general. I'm happy that I made something that's become that, I guess. But it was never like a big movie. Like it played at, I think, 40 theaters, which is a lot.
I think a lot of people saw it online, probably.
I think most people saw it online and like heard about it through music friends, like they just trade records like, oh, you should see this movie about this band.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of people know the poster too.
Yeah, I was just totally thinking that.
Which is pretty damn effective for like nowadays, like for somebody to know a poster that well. Like I can't think of what the poster for fucking Nightcrawler is or any of these other movies that are coming out. Like I know they exist, but can I close my eyes and see the poster? No, not really. But I could see the poster for a band called Death.
No, that's cool you say that. That goes back to Evan Husney, who actually it's Husney, I think. I can't remember. I'm sorry, Evan. But he worked at Draft House. He's the reason why Draft House bought a band called Death. He saw it at the Los Angeles Film Festival, and he saw it at the Los Angeles Film Festival because we used that photo of the guys as our kind of like poster for the movie, and he saw that photo, and that was what caught his eye, and he went to go see the movie, and that was blown away. So when the time came to actually do the actual movie poster, we must have went through like 20 different versions, and it just ended with that one. Like that was the one that Evan liked. That was the one I liked. That was the one that Jeff liked.
It's effective. You can't argue with that.
It's just the photo.
That's another lesson for you budding filmmakers out there. Good poster.
Yeah.
So you can't just have your name be real high in the alphabet. You got to have a nice, effective poster too. So good poster. High in the alphabet name. Mm-hmm. Everybody's learning something today.
Pretty colors.
Pretty colors.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen it as a yellow and a bright pink.
It's yellow and just black and white. Okay. So the yellow really sticks out.
Yeah. You got to pop that yellow, guys.
Yeah. It's like highlighter.
But it is. It looks like it. And the yellow part of the poster is the part, and this is actually the part where some like diehard punk rock, historians, or at least they call themselves that, will get aggravated and pissed off at our movie without even seeing the movie. The bright yellow part of the poster is the part that says, before there was punk, there was. And then in black and white, it says a band called Death.
So that's a lot of asking for angry letters there.
It is, and it's something me and Jeff were never for at the beginning, because Jeff and I never made a film to say that these guys were the first punk rock band. Like that wasn't our intention. It was to tell this family story of these African-American brothers who actually played this music that some of it was ahead of its time. You might be able to call it punk. You can call it pop rock, you can call it whatever you want.
Right.
But we were more interested in David Hackney's story and how he held the band together through all these years with this really cool music that he believed in.
Well, it's kind of like it's like tree falling in the woods, but nobody's around to hear it. You know? They did something that was so ahead of its time, but maybe it wasn't influential in the sense that a lot of people heard it, but it was still a milestone as far as music creation and melding sounds and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And, people, like I said, some people will see that in the poster and they'll just write the movie off without even seeing it. But what they don't also understand is that the poster, that before there was punk, that's a play on words with the New York Times article that came out in 2008 or 2009, which is how me and Jeff got first notice about this whole story. There's this New York Times article that came out.
I think that might be how that's probably how I heard about it.
Yeah. It said before what was the headline in that New York Times article? It said, this band was punk before punk was punk. That's what caught our eye.
Right.
And so I think that's what caught the marketing team's eye when they were doing the poster.
Yeah, so they had to play off that.
Exactly.
Sure.
And so you get it if you understand that. But people that don't understand that, they'll see these fucking guys are trying to say these guys were the first punk rock band. They weren't the first fucking...
That was a spot on impression.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
So wait, how many years of your life was this movie?
I mean, if we're gonna break it
down, I mean, from inception,
I lost 4 years of my life, and I'm still trying to gain them back.
I mean, that's par for the course for documentaries, it seems.
Yeah, no, I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining. I mean, trust me. What's his name? Who's the guy that directed Active Killing? Oof, I'm sorry, man.
I'm right next to the computer. I should be the guy to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
Joshua Oppenheimer, right? Is that his name? Joshua Oppenheimer.
Double check.
But that poor guy spent 9 years on that film. So, I mean, people spend years on these documentaries. And
hey, really, you got it right. Joshua Oppenheimer. Yeah. And somebody else, Christine Sin.
His co-director. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, It takes passionate people that really believe in the story. And Jeff and I believed enough in telling this story and wanting to tell it right. that we just didn't give up. I mean, we hit a wall where we ran out of money. Jeff got a divorce. I was
life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way, but to us, the movie was the thing. Like we had to do it, even though it was killing us financially. And luckily, like on a day where we did kind of give up in a way, we had a phone call in the morning. And Jeff told me, because I wanted to keep going no matter what, but Jeff's like, this is crazy. We got to just.
What was the phone call?
He called me up from work at like 9 a.m. It was before he got a divorce, but things weren't good at home, and we were both like near bankrupt. And he's just like, listen, we gotta put this on hold and either try to raise money and make it over the course of like 10 years, like Hoop Dreams or something,
right?
And or just give up because it's really not doing us any good right now. And it was a hard phone call to have with him. But almost immediately after that phone call, a friend of mine started frantically texting me that Scott Mosier was tweeting about a band called Death.
Nice.
or not the movie band called Death, but just about our movie in general. And I called my friend back and I said, what do you mean Scott Mosier is tweeting about our film? And for those that don't know, Scott Mosier, he is a producer from Hollywood. He produced Good Will Hunting and all of Kevin Smith's films up until Zach and Marie Make a Porno. And my friend's like, well, he saw a trailer you had cut and put online. And at the time, the film was called Where Do We Go From Here? And he's tweeting about it because he wants to know, A, is it the most deaf documentary? Which I can get into that story if you want it later. Or B, is it still being made? And, he'd like to know more. And so I told my friend, just send him a message, give him my email address, and please tell him I'd like to talk to him. And then that night, me and Jeff were on the phone with him.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was kind of like a Cinderella story. Like, here we are talking about putting the film on hold or abandoning.
And here you are in a
like,
dress.
Here I am wearing my
glass
dress.
slippers.
Yes.
So how did you get into documentary filmmaking to begin with? Like what pulled you towards that? Because you seem like somebody who just loves movies forever, like me.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on movies. My mom worked the night shift at Long Island Jewish Medical Center, and so I was always home alone at night watching movies. And then on weekends, she'd take me out to see movies. So movies were ingrained in me. I knew from the age of 9 through a teacher that I had that I wanted to be a director. Like I knew at that age, and so from
that was the same for me. I feel like it kicks in pretty early on. Once once you know that people direct them. Yeah. Then it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's the thing that I'm gonna do,
Exactly. And me and my mom, we weren't rich or anything, so I didn't have any video cameras. So eventually when she could afford one, it was a VHS camera. And I shot a couple of videos, I remember in high school, that were like, I did The Mammon and the Archer. Like I made my own short film of that, and I did The Glass Menagerie. I did my own short film of that. And
Look at you.
I did Macbeth. And these were terrible films. I remember
little Max Fisher over here putting on yeah.
I remember for Macbeth and The Glass Menagerie, it's like Glass Menagerie takes place in the Great Depression, and Macbeth takes place in like medieval times.
Which is, of course, topics that you know a lot about at that age.
I was a big fan of Mad Max movies and post-apocalyptic movies, so I based them in the apocalypse. So I shot in like the junkyard behind my house.
So you played to your strengths.
I did, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It didn't make any sense to the story at all. But no, I went to a film school in Vermont, and I just wanted to make narrative films. I didn't want to make documentaries. And at that time, I think I had only seen a handful of them. American Movie was one of them. I saw Spinal Tap, and I consider that a documentary, even though it's
I feel like the style sort of, if you're doing it in the style, you're capturing something that's organic. Yeah. Whether it's intentionally funny or whatever. If you're capturing something in that organic way, I feel like you can call it a documentary. I've always felt like the line between documentary and narrative is so hair thin.
It's very thin.
Yeah, because if you're sitting down with somebody and you're having an interview and you've written out all the questions ahead of time and you know where the movie is going to go and everything. Yeah. How is that any different from you writing down lines to do and stuff like that? I mean, it's just an approach. I mean, people in their head, they think documentary, oh, real. This is just stuff that's happened. But there's so much, like, even, and it's not even in a malicious way, but you do steer things towards a certain area when you're making a documentary film.
Yeah. And I'm just learning all this stuff still.
It's an ongoing thing,
Yeah. I mean, so to get back, I was at college. I wanted to make a narrative feature. I didn't want to make a documentary. But we didn't have any money, me and my friends. My parents had bought me like a 3 CCD video camera. So we had that. And I remember the only movie that had come out that shot on mini DV at the time was like Chuck and Buck.
Right. Which is a pretty good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
I like that one.
But I didn't feel like I wanted to make a narrative film with that kind of a camera. So me and my friends came up with this kind of like scheme that we would make a mock documentary since we were all from out of Vermont. And, I was from Long Island. One of my friends was from Georgia. Another friend was from Africa, like literally from Kenya. And we were just like, dude, these Vermont people are fucking weird.
Right.
They eat maple syrup every day and they dress weird and they paint their houses pink and purple. And it's just, it's so not where we're from. And
dude, did you ever go on those, there's those fucking slides that I always see advertisements for. Like if you go to Vermont, you can go on these like weird like slides down hills. They're like you
they
sit
have
on
those,
this little plastic
the
things.
Alpine slides.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No,
I've always wanted to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do it?
Oh my God.
Not good?
You'll get cement burn all over
no.
your It's terrible.
Dude, you just dashed my dreams.
I once saw a kid lose half the side of his face on one of those.
Oh, Lord. That could have been me. I'm glad my parents never took me there.
We live life on the edge up there in Vermont.
Slides.
It's just maple syrup and slides
it gets
as far
to your
as
head,
the
man.
eyes can
Yeah.
see.
100% pure Vermont, man. That shit's dangerous. But yeah, so we had this idea. I don't remember whose original idea was, if it was mine or one of theirs, but we were like, let's just make a documentary about Vermont people and interview Vermont people, like some famous Vermont people that would be famous to Vermont people. And then just some random people, like some maple syrup guys, some farmers, and, just a dude on the street.
Right.
And there were some topics going on in Vermont at the time. There was this thing, the civil unions with gay people getting married. And there was the Act 60 thing that was going on, which Act 60 was this, I don't even remember. It dealt with taxes. But so we asked people about those, like what they thought about those, just to hear their opinions. But then there's this mockumentary part, which was to show the audience that we didn't know what we were doing, since we didn't know what we were doing. We never made a documentary before. So we turned the cameras on ourselves and switched our names around. And so my friend Josh played Mark Covino, and I told him to play like this pretentious asshole filmmaker that just wants tits and ass,
Nice.
which in a way is not a stretch for me in a way. But, and then, a couple of, like I played the sound guy that I took one of my friend's names, and I was a closeted homosexual that wanted to marry Mark. And at the ending of the movie, we were going to marry. Like that was going to be the climax of the movie through a civil union.
So this movie ever come into fruition?
Yeah, the
or?
movie's done. It's horrible. I'm never going to show it. But I learned how to conduct interviews through it. And I learned a lot about how to frame a camera, like outside of film school. Like in film school, they were trying to show us this, but the teachers were doing a pretty piss poor job at the school I went to. So it was really just going out and doing it ourselves that really taught us, this is how you log, this is how you keep a list of what you shot and what's good. And
Yeah. I mean, I'm always a fan of the thing of like doing it yourself and kicking your own ass with it, because if it's something that you're putting your name on,
yeah,
you're going to be learning a lot more attentively, and you're going to be doing things a lot better than if it's just a project that you're working on to get a grade and then get out of there. If at the end of the day your name is going to be on it, you're going to be putting way more effort into it.
And we did. We spent 3 years shooting it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a masterpiece. I thought it was going to be great. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, wow, what do we do with our lives?
You're like, who is this Mark Corvino guy?
I don't know this Mark Corvino guy.
Exactly.
Is any of it salvageable, do you think? Is there any moments?
No.
Nothing?
It's a
Doesn't
bad
have
movie.
a part?
It exists. It's a feature-length film. It's a piece of shit. One thing I will say about it, though, obviously Spinal Tap was an inspiration for me in doing it. But looking back at it now, it was kind of ahead of its time, because it was doing exactly what Borat did, which was we were playing characters while interviewing real
I
people.
thought you were going to say you were wrestling naked on screen.
We did do that. That was on the cutting room floor. Me and my friend Justin with his balls on my head. But so, by the way, the name of the movie is "What State Is Vermont In?" Because nobody in America knows where
Or
Vermont is.
Canada. I don't know where it is either.
So, and every time I'm back home in New York visiting people, they're like, "Where are you, Vermont? Where's is that?" In Canada?
So yeah, you still live in Vermont.
I live in Vermont still.
Yeah.
Now, but I'm from Long Island.
Right. So how'd you come to living in Vermont? I don't know if I got that part.
Well, I'm originally from Long Island. I born in Queens and kind of progressed out towards Center Reach. And I grew up an only child with a single mother. My mom divorced my dad as soon as I was born. I think she just wanted to raise a kid. But she was always a very intense, original woman. She had strong feelings towards things. And if you didn't agree with her, you would either hear about it or feel it. And I think it was around the time that I started going to high school that I became more of a man. I started dating and stuff. And it's hard for anyone to understand that never grew up a single child with a single parent. But I was kind of like my mom's husband in a way. So when I started leaving and dating, it was like she lost the one person in her life that mattered. And so she started getting more aggressive and stuff. And basically it got so bad that she would do violent things that would hurt me, like throw full soda cans at my head, yelling at me for not coming home at 9:00, even though I came home at like 9:30. If I didn't take out the garbage, I would get something, smacked across my face. And so this one day, it got to its peak. I was sick and tired of all this bitching and like, I'm not a bad kid. I'm not, I'm not snorting coke or anything, like I'm just hanging out with my friends a little bit later. I'm not taking out the garbage every now and then. I mean, give me a break, And she was complaining. I remember she drove me to Taekwondo class and she was complaining about this oil spill in the garage that I knew was from the car. But for some reason, she was blaming me about it. And I just had enough. And I was like, are we allowed to curse on this? I mean, yeah.
We're not on a network.
Okay.
Come on.
Is it Clear Channel?
I mean, I'm flattered. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me is, can I curse on this?
You're welcome.
That implies me getting paid by a superior. But no, yes, you can curse all you want.
So I had just had enough. And I was like, shut up, you fucking cunt. And man, did her head like turn beet red like a thermometer. Like I actually saw it. It was insane. And she took the car over 3 lanes of traffic, up onto a sidewalk. And she grabbed this thing called the club that you use to lock the wheel.
Is this all a
have
plug
one.
for the club?
This is a plug for the club.
This has all been a commercial.
They're going to make millions off of this after the story. So she took the sharp part when you pull it out with the ripples. And she started wailing it at my chest, really hard. Like, I want you dead. I want you out of my life.
And how old are you at this point?
I was 17.
Wow. Okay.
I was 17 years old. And, the really violent stuff, I guess, she was always very violent, but the really like physical violent stuff really started around high school, middle school time. So I just took it. I took the club and I butted her in the chin to stop her, like, knock out of it. Yeah. And she did, but she was like breathing really heavy. And I never heard or saw anybody breathe like this. It was like an animal. And she drove me to Taekwondo class and then left. I don't remember if she ever picked me up or not, or how I ended up home. But shortly after, she had her ex-boyfriend, Jimmy Guido, come, who was this guy that claimed he was a hitman for the mafia, short little Italian guy, tough bastard. And he came up to try and like set me straight. And I could totally tell like that's why he came. And I was like so sick of it because he was always violent with her himself. He would always grab her by the arm. And I hated that because I love my mom. I didn't want to see her get hurt. Yeah. And so I remember I had a nervous breakdown in school that week. And I was like, I punched in my locker. Like I punched it like 4 or 5 times until there was a giant dent. And like 4 teachers had to hold me down. And at the time I was dating Jen, my current wife. And she didn't know what the hell like to think about all this. Like she was afraid of my mom because the few times she saw her, my mom scared her away. And so they called Child Protective Services. And when I went to go open the door the day that the Child Protective Services woman came, I knew that was it. I was like, shit, this is just like, I've thought about running away from home, but now I think I might need to, because now that my mom knows that these people have been called, I never wanted them called to begin with. Right. But my mom talked to them, and then after that, she didn't talk to me for like 3 or 4 days. And this guy, Jimmy Guido, was around, and he was just like pushing me around, trying to be like, I'm going to make you a man, make you respect your mom, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, he was like disrespecting her. And I just remember sitting at dinner the last night of that week with him grabbing her arm, being rough with her. And I was at the other end. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to be in this circus anymore. Like I want to have a normal life. I'm still a fucking kid.
Yeah. If you're going to be in a circus, you better go off and join a real circus.
Yeah. I mean, that would be more fun. Yeah. So I called my friend up and I was like, I'm going to do it tonight. I told him I was going to leave, run away eventually. But this time I was like, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to sneak out through the basement window. My bedroom was in the basement, and just pick me up on the side at this hour. And he picked me up, and I went to his house, and I I remember my mom called that night. She was chewing him out. And then she ended the phone conversation with, "He's not my son anymore," and then hung up. And so I ended up trying to finish high school at his house. And I was in junior high school at the time, and I was sleeping on his floor. My dad came up to me at the end of the junior year, and he's like, "Mark, you got to come up to Vermont." That's where my dad's lived since 1960. Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, come up to Vermont. You're being a burden on this family." And I was so pissed because I was a New Yorker. I knew 7-Eleven, I knew White Castle, I knew all this shit that me and my friends walking on the highways in the middle of the night when no one's driving on them. Like, that's what I grew up with, and I didn't want to leave that behind to go live in the sticks. But my dad's like, "No, you're being a burden." And so I reluctantly left to go to move to Vermont around 1998, I think it was, and I've been there ever since.
And you like it?
I do. The first year was rough. The first year I hated it because there was nothing but rednecks and hippies, and I didn't relate to that. I related to, skate rats, to, homie G's.
And then you made a bad movie and it knocked you down a peg.
Yeah, exactly. I made a bad movie that knocked me down a peg. But it was a culture shock for sure. But then I started to see all the good things about it. Like right after I finished high school in Vermont, a feature film was being shot in Vermont by this Vermont filmmaker, and he was looking for an entire crew of high school kids. And so there I am, I'm working on my first feature-length film, like a real movie, and being taught the process of filmmaking.
What movie did this turn out being?
It's a terrible film called Ingest. And it's a play on words, like ingest and ingest.
Oh no.
It's a terrible film because like 20 different people wrote the script, and they were all kids. And the director isn't the best of directors. But
it was a good experience.
It was a great experience for me. And it was while working on that a kid on that told me about Burlington College, which is where I went to school.
So you mentioned you dating Jen in high school, and then she's your current wife.
Yeah.
And so you left town, and then...
Yeah, I left. I was in Vermont for like...
When did y'all get married and whatnot? Like, I'm trying to fill in some holes.
Yeah, it's
not
right.
Jen's holes. Those are what you're filling.
I already filled those in.
Yeah, those are sealed.
After 15 years, it's hard and crusty now. But no, I moved up there, and I think it was like not even a full year. So I started going to college. I remember, and we were still dating. Like she would come up on a train and visit me.
Nice.
And her dad hated it. Like he didn't like me, but she was
a good lady though.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, her mom. Well, her parents are divorced too. Everyone's parents these days seem to be divorced. So her parents are divorced. So her mom was the one that would let her come up and visit me, and her dad was very against it. But I remember I was going through a lot emotionally because I lost a mother. Like she was very important to me.
Yeah.
And it felt like shit. And I started doing drugs as soon as I started going to college, like everything I could find. And I was a train wreck. I could see I was going in a bad direction. And I'm like at the beginning of college, I'm not ready to like ruin my life yet. I want to wait until I'm done with college to ruin my life. And so Jen was coming up for New Year's Eve of January 2012. And I just knew I was going to propose to her because at that point it had been 2 years straight that we were dating. And I knew I needed her in Vermont to help ground me because right now the people I was hanging out with and the situations I was putting myself in weren't healthy. And I needed somebody to balance me out. And I knew it was going to be her because I still loved her a lot. And we both met in a film production class in Long Island when we were in high school. So, I knew that it was going to help me no matter what. And it did. Like we got married 3 days after I proposed and been married ever since. So that's about 15 years this January.
I thought you said 2012. Or
2000. I'm sorry, 2012.
Right on.
So yeah, 2000 is when we got married. January.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's great. It's half my life. 15 years.
Wow.
You've been married longer than I've been alive.
I know. It's man.
I'm a little wonder kid. Yeah.
Making me feel old here.
All right, so tell me about this movie you're working on now, right? You've been working
The Crest.
You've been working on it for a little while, The Crest, right?
Yeah. Well, we had a Vermont premiere of A Band Called Death in 2012. I think it was November, or no, it was in October. It was at the Vermont International Film Festival. And it was a great screening. It was like a packed 500-seat theater, and the band played before. And then one of my friends who I had previously tried to make a hip-hop documentary with, he brought his cousin up to see A Band Called Death, and he introduced me to him after the screening. He's like, this is my cousin. His name is Andrew. He's a surfer. And there's actually a pretty cool story about him and his cousin. They want to meet for the first time, and they're both surfers, and they didn't know each other existed, and blah, blah, blah. He's like, do you think that would make a good documentary?
I'd watch it.
And I was like, it sounds interesting. Let's talk about it some more. And he told me a little bit more about it. And apparently Andrew's uncle wrote a blog about a fiddle that was found in an attic in Ireland that dates back to his grandfather. And his father, I think, was the king of the Blasket Islands, which are these rural islands off the west coast of Ireland that were, they had no electricity, and they were secluded from the mainland from 3 miles of treacherous ocean. And people on the islands were only able to get to the mainland on these boats called navogues, which were like they look like long canoes, but they glided on the water like surfboards. So Andrew learns about all this stuff through this blog. He's like, this is insane. Like, my ancestors were basically surfers, and they lived off the land like I do. And because he's a fisherman himself, and he lives in Cape Cod. And so he found out after his cousin, who lives in San Diego, found that blog, that his cousin existed. His cousin never knew that Andrew existed, and his cousin's name is DK. So these two never knew each other existed for some reason, which you find out about in the movie. And they're both surfers. And so they connect through the phone and in emails, and they're like, listen, Andrew was like, listen, my family's going to Ireland for the Year of the Gathering, which was in 2013, where families go to Ireland and kind of retrace their roots. And he's like, you should come out, and we should meet for the first time and try to surf the waves of our ancestors on the Blasket Islands.
Nice.
And so that's what our film captures, basically. We did a Kickstarter and raised some money, and all that money went away after our trip to Ireland.
Yeah.
But now we're in post-production trying to wrap it up and trying to raise finishing money.
Nice.
Is it going to be a feature?
It's going to be a short doc.
Right.
I'm very adamant about that.
It's like a minute long, right? So.
Well, the family wants it to be a feature. That's understandable. I mean, it's about their family.
Sure.
And it's I guess, depending on how short your film is. I mean, our film is going to be short, but it's also going to be like 45 minutes long, probably.
Right.
So it's like a long short, and those are really hard to get traction at film festivals. People want shorts at film festivals, but I just know instinctively that's.
You should just play it twice in a row.
Play it twice.
Call it a feature.
Yeah.
Just have an encore presentation.
But I will, like, in the editing room, if it feels like it could be longer, I will make it maybe 60 minutes.
You just have really slow credits at the end.
Really slow credits.
That's what they did with Ginger Dead Man.
Well,
because they had to get over 70 minutes, so they just played the end credits as slow as possible.
Actually, I think my producer on The Crest worked on Ginger Dead Man.
Oh, man. Yeah. See, it's going to end up being like a 2-hour movie. Just the second he gets in front of the credits.
Just with the credits from Kickstarter, I mean, we're probably
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the film doesn't have any conflict in it like a Band Called Death did, and conflict goes a long way in a
There's
film.
no death, so to speak.
There's nothing really. It's just you're going on this journey, and you're kind of learning about this family, and you're learning about this land that they're from, which is, it's basically a huge part of how Irish language survived. Irish language, which is called Gaelic by a lot of people in the States, but they call it Irish there.
Or homosexual.
Or homosexual. Exactly.
I mean, let's do the,
depending on
better nomenclature.
Yeah. But so our film's gonna go over all of that, but it'll be more of like, we're gonna bring the audience on this like journey and educate them as they're just having fun watching these kids learn for the first time.
Nice.
Are there going to be lots of like surf shots? Because I know people love those.
Yeah, no.
When you say people, are you not including yourself?
Oh, well, I'm like people at like sport film festivals, mountain movie, and
exactly.
Those like that. Those people love watching people climb mountains and surf.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know a lot about surf culture before getting into this, and I researched and watched a lot of movies, and I realized, wow, there's like a whole subgenre of just surfing movies. And so
it's endless.
It is, and it's kind of great for us in a way, because that like A Band Called Death is still playing in fucking film festivals. It's insane, but the reason is because it's a music documentary, and music documentaries, these festivals are popping up left and right, and as soon as they hear that they can get the film, they want to show it.
Well, that's like at my theater we book Vancouver International Mountain Film Festival and other sport film festivals, and people show up and I don't see the marketing. I don't know. Like a lot of times it's companies, sport companies, whatever, snowboard movies. They'll come out of nowhere and fill the house. So for sure, like sport, it's definitely, like you said, a subculture, subgenre.
Yes, and we tried our best to get the best surfing footage we could with what we had. And
were you like in the water on a board?
We weren't the first time, and I was very disappointed in our footage because of that. I mean, we had great footage from the shore, but people want to be in the water.
Yeah.
So this second trip, we actually went out a second trip to get more surfing shots. So we brought them back out to just surf again, and we brought an underwater camera guy.
Nice.
To get some shots, and he got some in the water. He was a surfer himself, so he was on a board. And
So there's some eye candy there.
yeah, I wanted to get aerial shots, but every time we went out there,
It wasn't in your Kickstarter budget.
it wasn't in our Kickstarter budget.
You got to get one of those little drone guys.
I know. It's very windy out there. I don't even know if you could use those little guys. I mean, it's pretty insane how windy it gets in Ireland. At least in the on the shore. We're as far out as you can get where we were filming on Ireland.
Did you ever see John from Cincinnati? That series about the surfing community?
No,
that David
but
Milch
I think I saw one episode.
It's a good fucking show. I loved it.
Didn't it have Al Bundy in it?
Yeah, he's incredible in it.
Nice.
I mean, the whole thing is that he's like, in all the David Milch shows, there's like a David Milch mouthpiece character, and he Ed O'Neill plays the David Milch mouthpiece character in that, and he's so good. I mean, he's just a tremendous actor.
Cool. Yeah, no.
I'm glad that he gets credit for the comedy stuff, but he's, as a dramatic actor, he's amazing, and like he fights too. He's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu or something too. He's like this awesome guy that just doesn't get enough love for those aspects.
There's a lot of actors like that. They get pigeonholed because of one character.
Yeah, exactly. And you ride that for a career, and that's a beautiful thing. But you can go your whole life not knowing that Al Bundy can kick your ass, and that's some good information right there.
Except for John Heder, I think he's Napoleon Dynamite for life. I think he's got to go back to that. Other stuff's not working out.
And it's weird. It's like, that character, he goes into it so effortlessly and perfectly. It's really, I mean, that's a hell of a performance. I mean, that movie kind of gets like sequestered to the side as like, oh, it was like this weird cult fad and it's over. But that's a hell of a fucking performance.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in that movie is pretty much bringing their A game for like a fucking low budget movie. It's damn impressive.
It's an iconic character.
Yeah, man.
I put him up there with Pee Wee Herman and what's his name from England?
More.
Mr. Bean?
Okay.
Mr. Bean.
More?
I was like, no, you're going to have to give me more information than that.
Sorry.
You know the guy from England. Come on.
Okay.
The one guy from England that does character-based comedy. I mean, come on. All right, we're going to take a quick break right now, and we'll be back with questions from the mailbag. So stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we released a special bonus episode of the Smug Film Podcast where we discuss holiday movies and our favorite films of 2014. If you haven't heard it, it's probably because you're not a member of Smug Film Club, our awesome online mailing list where the only time we'll ever be in your inbox is when we're sending you exclusive free bonus content. So sign up today at smugfilm.com/club and we'll send you that bonus episode right away. By the way, this episode is sponsored by Rock That Gem, beautiful handcrafted gemstone jewelry. Visit them at rockthatgem.com and use coupon code SMUGFILM for 10% off your order. First question we have here is from Brad, and he asks, given that both of you have made documentaries, referring to Mark and myself, what do you make of Werner Herzog's statements about documentaries needing to have a truth rather than portray reality as it is? Do you agree or disagree? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's something as a filmmaker I've been struggling since that first horrible Vermont movie I made. What state is Vermont in? I mean, I always think of Searching for Sugar Man when I think about these kind of things because to me that's a great movie, but it's not a great documentary. But at the same time, it is a documentary. Not a great documentary, but what I mean by that is he leaves certain facts and truths out.
Yeah, what was the thing? He left out like this huge aspect where the guy was actually popular.
He was very popular
in like Australia.
In Australia,
He was like,
and he even had like a hit record that he released.
And they just totally glossed over that. And they were so deliberate about everything else. They were like, and this happened, and then this happened.
And making a band called Death, I'm meeting all these musicians and record collectors, and all of them are like, dude, I had Rodriguez records throughout the years. Like
that's fucking bullshit.
Well,
I hate shit like that.
It's not like I'm gonna take
no, it's
take
fine.
umbrage with what this question is because I think that I mean, I respect the pure documentary thing. And we were talking earlier about the documentary, The Imposter. And I remember a couple years ago, I was
Earlier meeting prior to the podcast. I don't
Yes.
want people to think they like spaced out and missed
no,
like some
no,
great.
no. You've been
You guys are
awake.
doing
You've been
okay.
awake the whole time. But like we were talking about The Imposter, and I recall seeing that at Hot Docs in Toronto a couple years ago. And after the film, it seemed like the audience was just completely electrified, as was I. And afterwards, I heard some Ryerson University students moaning because it wasn't a pure documentary. And I just remember thinking, like, if you enjoy the medium and you weren't moved by that because it doesn't fit your criteria of what a documentary should be, then I hope you never make any money doing what it is that you think you want to do. Because, film is fluid. And I think that, what one filmmaker does is really good. But I think that if somebody else can be more dynamic or push boundaries in some way and still keep it interesting, then, bravo to them. I think that, say something like The Imposter, when people were seeing it, they thought it might veer into, the Learning Channel, documentary type docudrama, but it didn't. And that year there were other documentaries that took a similar approach in terms of recreation. There was a really wonderful one about a British woman who died in her home, and nobody missed that she was missing for over a year. And when they went and found her, she literally melted into the carpet.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
she decomposed. The TV was on.
Wow.
But it was all done through recreation, and that story wouldn't have been as impactful I don't think if they took that approach. And, sometimes it fails. Hello, Interior Leather Bar. And sometimes it doesn't.
Hey, I'll be the devil's advocate on that. I think that's a brilliant fucking movie.
Sounds great.
Dude, I love that movie.
No, you
Okay,
don't.
let's put a bullet on that because I want to come back to that.
Have you seen his other one, the General Hospital one?
No, I
The
haven't seen that
documentary he
one
made?
yet.
Okay.
But hold on, put a little marker on Interior Leather Bar. I want to come back to that because I really like that movie. But first, addressing The Imposter. My thing with The Imposter, I didn't watch the whole film and I turned it off because I was watching it and I was like, you know what? I can't get down with the fact that this is, 2.35 to 1. I can't get down with the
Right.
aspect ratio because
And the
for me,
temperature wasn't correct in the room for your optimal documentary
look,
enjoyment. I gather.
call me a prissy pants, but when I'm watching the documentary, I want it to be 4:3, I want it to be 16:9 or 185:1 or something. I can't get down with the scope documentary.
I
It
love that
feels
that's
so,
the hang up.
Yeah, hey, look, I'm the guy who calibrates his fucking TV up the wazoo and everything. But I can't get into it and also the fact that they did a lot of the color correction of bringing everything to like blues and oranges and not using the real colors of a room. That's something that really fucks me up on documentaries. When there's too much color correction and they're trying to make everything look exactly the same and they're not showing you what a room actually looks like or what a person actually looks like. It just felt, absolutely deliberate. And if that's how you want to see a movie, then that's your movie. But for me, watching that documentary, it's allowing me to not be able to get into the story because I can't get over the aesthetic aspects. And for me, the documentaries that I really love, it's all lines up with my aesthetics. It's all stuff that I respond to visually and on like a beauty level that allows me to get into the story. Because I feel like any story can be interesting. Any premise for a documentary can be interesting. It's all about how you handle it. Like that movie, Dear Zachary. I hated the editing in that movie, but the story is, absolutely riveting. But I just hated how the movie was made. And that was a hang up for me as far as enjoyment. And I feel like documentaries, it relies so much on editing and how you're showing everything that like you can be really turned off from something just from those aspects.
Yeah, I guess it reminds me a little bit of the hang up that punk rock guys have with Death's music, by them being labeled punk. Like, I guess it comes down to labels in a way.
Absolutely.
It's all subjective. I mean, a lot of people I meet listen to Death's music and they're like, this is punk rock, man. This is the truest form of punk rock. I meet a lot of people also that are like, no, this is like, this is like the Alan Parsons Project or something. Like, this is not
But
punk
I
rock.
think it's about like defying genre
Yeah.
too. Like when you were talking about, these guys and did they invent punk rock? Like I think to me, one of the things that I found compelling with a band called Death, and when you explored them was at the point, one of the points in the film, one of the gentlemen says, and they talked about going to the Who concert and how that, sort of changed everything. And you think, I think today we are so locked into certain people doing certain things that to hear about 3, young boys in Detroit getting their minds blown from the Who seems really distant because we assume that they're supposed to just be into one kind of music. And I think maybe that's sort of really what punk is about the attitude. So I say that filmmaking too is about defying a genre and earthing something completely different out of the same material.
Yeah, whatever genre you're working in, you reinvigorate it by grabbing from other areas. Like that's the way that Westerns change or horror changes or anything. A lot of times, my favorite like impulse towards somebody wanting to create something lines up with Gary Panter's Roztalks manifesto, which he wrote in the 80s, I think, which one of the clear points of it is if you don't like a particular genre, work in that genre because you'll probably be fucking good at it and you'll probably do something awesome with it. I'm paraphrasing completely. I probably made that into a better quote than it actually exists in the manifesto, not to toot my own horn. But that's the gist of it, is that like, there are horror movies for people who hate most horror movies. There are Westerns for people who hate most Westerns, and they come from people, rather than running away from pop music because you don't like what's on the radio, creating something that will be on the radio in the future. It's like with The Simpsons. The Simpsons was at one point a fucking avant-garde experiment. It wasn't pop culture. It wasn't the most mainstream thing we can think of now as far as entertainment and animation.
It was a segment on the Tracy Ullman show.
Exactly. And it was a crude experiment. It was throwing stuff against the wall and making something with yellow people. And, we take it all for granted now because it's just as American as apple pie or the Beatles, because, the world becomes America, in that sense.
No, but I actually think that point, I think that's a really great point for life. Like now that you've said that, I think one of my other goals in 2015 will be to make a horror movie, because I feel like I spent a lot of time watching them. I program them at the theater, and most of them I hate them. They all fall apart so terribly in the third act. Like I see so many movies and I'm like, the premise is really, and then the zombies come out and fuck everything up. So yeah.
There you go. I mean, now I want to see your horror movie.
Yeah, it won't have zombies. I'm going to tell you that much.
This is actually the reason why I haven't made a horror film yet, is because I grew up on horror and it's the genre that I love and I embrace. It's how I met my wife, for crying out loud. But I feel like I couldn't do it justice because I love it too much and I know it too much. I feel like I need to pick something that I don't like.
That happens with a lot of guys who like, they'll go into horror because it's, for one thing, it seems like an easy genre to get into because there's a lot
it's the way to get a film bought and sold.
It's a lot of bad stuff and it's okay to be bad. It's a genre where it's okay to be kind of shitty in because you still sell a movie or something. And, that's a beautiful thing. You're going somewhere safe, but sometimes you just got to veer fucking way off and
now your film could look like shit. It could be Paranormal Activity and make millions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still so on. I mean, having been to horror movie festivals, and you just like they're consume, and I walk out of them going like, I really only liked one of them, but the one that I like usually is I find the one that like no one's heard of, but it's so Starry Eyes. That's going to be one of my.
I still have to see that.
Have you seen it?
No, what's that one?
Oh my God, it's so good. It's I believe it's from the Travis Stevens
Travis
crew.
Stevens,
Yeah.
Vermonter, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Hands down, it's kind of like Rosemary's Baby meets a Star is Born or something like that. Like it's I programmed it at our horror movie festival.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, and the actress who has the lead role in the film, whose name escapes me at the moment, is also Canadian, has a Vancouver connection. But if you're looking for something, go watch it tonight. Can you just nod at me?
It's on video on demand.
It's
right?
amazing.
Is it free?
It's no comment.
Is
But
it
If
on
it
the
was
Pirate
free,
Bay?
if it was free, I'd watch it when you guys leave.
oh, it's amazing, and to me,
I'll take a look at it though.
it defied.
I'm in the mood for a good
it
horror movie.
It defied so
I've
many.
heard
It's
so many great things from it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with Travis, but
Yeah.
all of my horror friends have
Yeah.
seen it now, and they're like,
I mean, I can count on less than one hand the amount of horror movies I've seen in the last couple of years that I really love. Like it would probably be Girl Next Door. I fucking adored, and I think is one of the most beautiful movies I've ever fucking seen. Also, I love the novel of it too by Jack Ketchum. And I interviewed the director for the
cool.
site. Y'all should check that out if you're listening because it's a good one. And Eden Lake. Did you guys ever see that
I
one?
heard about it.
That one's fucking good. It's fucking Fassbender not being all like Fassbender leading man, like being just like, guy doing a job, acting job kind of thing, which is cool to see at him because you sort of associate him with like everybody looking at him kind of thing. It's a heavy fucking movie. Love that one. And then I have to sort of rack my brain after those two to think of something that I really loved as much.
A lot of
in recent
people
years.
say that Cheap Thrills is a horror film, but to me, it's more of just a black comedy. But to me, I mean, that's my favorite film of 2013, and apparently it was released theatrically in 2014, so it might even be my favorite film this year.
we played it. The
Which
Rio.
one is Cheap Thrills?
Cheap Thrills is
EL Cats.
Evan Katz is the director.
Pat Healy's in it.
stars
Ethan Embry.
Pat Healy. Yep, Ethan Embry from.
I like Embry.
David Koechner. Yeah.
I'm on board for some Embry.
It's awesome.
I mean, if it's a horror film, it's a horror film. To me, it isn't.
See, that's my thing for horror movies. It has to feel like it couldn't be a horror movie, but I guess it sort of is.
It's
like
pretty horrific what happened.
Yeah, that's interesting that you'd call it a black comedy. I don't know that I would, but
I just remember
I was one of my favorite of that year as well.
I mean, I got to see it. Draft House bought it the night I flew into South by Southwest, so I got to see it that night.
Nice.
They had a huge get together with it. I never laughed so hard from beginning till end watching a film, and laughed so hard at the most twisted shit. I mean,
literally.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that movie, Very Bad Things. Only,
that was like the notorious black comedy for many, many years.
But I remember seeing that in a movie theater, and I was laughing out loud during that movie, and the entire audience got up and left. I was the only one left laughing till the ending. Whereas Cheap Thrills had a packed house, and people were laughing nonstop from beginning to end.
Oh, great. Yeah, Dave Koechner is fucking
he's amazing
hysterical,
at it. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Check out Cheap Thrills for sure.
Yeah, but to bring it back to the question real quick, I guess
Tangent.
yeah, my take is, I like Herzog a lot. I like his documentaries a lot. Probably more so than his narrative stuff if I had to pick between the two. I mean, I love, Giri the Wrath of God. That's my number one for him. But Grizzly Man is so well put together, and
such a perfect doc.
I just feel like in the question when he's saying about reaching a truth rather than portraying reality is this: when you're making a movie about anything, when you're making art about anything, you're picking what to leave in, what to leave out, and then you're you can think that what you're doing is getting to a reality just by let's say leaving a camera on a floor and just showing something happening without editing it. You can do stuff like that. But you're still leaving something out. You're still choosing what to leave in, choosing what to leave out with any art. So as far as getting to a truth,
no, that's true.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be something that you deliberately set out to do, but you're going to end up at a truth anyway. And it's all about recognizing that in the editing, I think. I mean, I've seen movies where there was stuff that I was on board with about it, but they just didn't heighten those aspects enough when they edited it. And I sort of left sort of ambivalent, like, oh man, if they had just like taken out this, maybe just the ending, maybe just like this plot line or something, it could have been like a 5-star movie for me. Like that's how I felt about Tree of Life, actually. I think there's a 90-minute movie in Malik's Tree of Life that is my favorite movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I will never see that movie because I'm only going to see the version with 45 minutes at the beginning and 45 minutes at the end that I just don't like whatsoever.
Yeah.
But there's some movie trapped in there because there's so much footage in that I enjoy. There's so much very universal, like growing up stuff in it that I love. There's something in there that's for me. And for his movie after that, To the Wonder, I thought I was going to hate because I figured, whatever train he's on with Tree of Life, that's not for me. I'm more into the older Malik stuff, but I fucking love To the Wonder. I never liked Ben Affleck and shit, and I fucking loved him in that. And I thought that was my version of what I would have wanted Tree of Life to be, like an unbloated, narrowed down movie. So I really like that one a lot. So I think when you're finding the truth, it has to happen in the editing. I think if you try to do it when you're shooting, I know you can relate to this. Once you start thinking you know what the movie is when you're shooting, you've lost the mark, because you're steering it somewhere and it's not going to end up there. It has its own life. It's going to end up where it is. And you either recognize where it's ended up, or you still try and conform it to some arbitrary idea of what you think the movie was like when you're shooting or before you're shooting or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get into trouble, because they get so precious about their ideas of what the movie is before they start making it. And the editing process is really where it comes alive, I think.
It's interesting, like you're talking about Grizzly Man, and I remember seeing that when it came out and loving it. And right after the film, as the credits were rolling, I walked over to my, horrible friend, and I was like,
why is she your friend then?
Well, because we're both horrible. And I was like, I wanted to see the tape. And
you and me both.
No, right? No, because everything that you just said about like choice and subjectivity and documentary, like to me, isn't that like if you were that filmmaker and you had all that stuff and you had access to that, and I get where he was going, and he made that whole aspect so precious. Like, I can't put it in, it is too much. But like at the same time, you're like,
oh yeah, it makes you want to see it right away.
I want to be punched in the stomach. Like when I think about the documentary.
I can punch you in the stomach.
No, it's not the same. It's an emotional stomach.
I'm trying to be a nice host.
But the documentary, the Robin Hood Hills murders, the children Paradise Lost.
That's my top.
But
top number one.
When the opening credit, like the opening sequence in that film, is that horrifying video of those three children in as they found them, and I remember seeing that. Also, I mean, this is really dating myself, but I remember seeing that when it came out on the big screen, and that image just by itself was so jarring that it just set the tone for the rest of the film. So
absolutely.
It's like, and I would, pardon my commentary, Mr. Herzog, but I would have been like, I wanted to see that or at least hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was artistic to leave it out, but at the same time, there's such a genuine horror in that moment that I think we were all kind of want that experience, because it's so truly terrifying. Yeah, I think he should have put it in.
I think the difference being that, when you're watching in Paradise Lost, you're seeing the aftermath of a murder rather than the taking place of somebody actually dying. And I can understand why he drew the line, but I'm with you. When you're watching that scene, you're as much of you that doesn't want to see it, you is the same amount that does, because it's making it taboo. It's making it alluring by having that scene in there where they're like, no, we cannot show. That was like the worst Herzog impression ever in my life. I don't know what the fuck that was.
But there's a moment of touching truth, which I think sometimes in a documentary is really electric, more so than a feature film ever can be. Like just even yesterday on the radio, or the other day I was listening to NPR, and they were playing this tape of like the Ceausescu's at their trial in Romania back in the day, and the moment where they realized in the courtroom, you're about to be killed. And they played this tape, and I don't speak Romanian, but there was this moment of sheer panic and terror in their voices, coming through when they were like, and this is the moment where they realized that they weren't going to be, the trial was done and they were going to be, dealt with that day. And I was just sitting in the car terrified. I mean, those are, important moments. I think that they can work all different kinds of ways, but I think, I don't know, I'm putting it in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's your money shot when you're making a documentary. It's like with that documentary about Bud Dwyer, the congressman who shot himself in the head, and they have the footage of it. I mean, if you're making a documentary of him, you kind of have to show that whether you want to or not. I mean, that's what people are looking for, even though you can find it on YouTube or whatever, but that's your crucial event. That's why you're making the movie in the first place. So I can definitely understand that in regards to Grizzly Man and needing to put it in there. But it's hard because it's such a great movie that it
is great as it is.
It's so immaculate.
But it would have pushed it over the top, though, right? Like then you would have been destroyed.
Yeah,
that's what
it would have been a different vibe too, though, because there was a lot of Grizzly Man that was really fucking funny. I mean, just the footage of the guy
where he puts his hand in
hysterical,
the poop, like in Jurassic Park.
It might have.
He does.
He does. He's like, it was inside of the bear.
Inside of the bear. Now it's on my hand.
It's tough because, since we haven't seen the footage, we're at a disadvantage. It could have been so horrible that if we saw it, we were making the movie, we would have left it out too. So that's tough in that regard. I mean, that's always the thing. There's so much trust when you're watching a documentary or you're making a documentary or whatever. You're putting yourself in the hands of this footage. It's so much responsibility, and it gets very difficult to say what should be left in or what should be left out. But the impulse, I think, is always there. You want to see everything you can possibly see.
Yeah. The band in A Band Called Death didn't want us talking about David becoming an alcoholic at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
We spent a year and a half interviewing them and interviewing their family and their friends until finally we got them to open up about it. But man, did they not want to talk about it.
And that's a very crucial aspect.
It is.
That's so crucial to understanding who this guy was,
Did they, after like they saw the film and, sort of had that, I guess, expository on him and his life, were they more accepting of it?
Yeah, for sure. I think they understood,
right?
Why we needed it in the film. In their heads, they wanted to, like, David was this amazing guitar player, put him on a pedestal.
Sure. Yeah.
He had no faults, but no. That's
it's probably hard to explain to somebody when they're not seeing the finished product, but you're imagining it in your head.
And for somebody that doesn't make films,
exactly.
It's really hard to get them to understand. Yeah. But when we showed them that first rough cut and they saw how it all came together, man.
I thought you guys did such a lovely job making him, a real multifaceted person, right?
Oh yeah, I feel like you know him after watching the movie.
Right about to say that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know the guy. I never met him once in my life.
And there are musicians I've seen documentaries about that I don't feel that way whatsoever. Yeah. And I probably learned way more information and saw way more footage of them than I saw in your movie.
I can guarantee you don't feel that way after watching Searching for Sugar Man.
Exactly. Perfect example.
Not to knock that movie. It's a good movie, but you don't feel like you know him after watching
Absolutely.
it. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying.
And he feels knowable too. Yeah. That was the problem with Sugar Man. You feel like if he was asked the right questions, he would have opened up in a way where you would have captured something where you really got to him. Let me bring it to the next question. Brian asks, what genre or genres do you feel are underutilized and why? That kind of comes back to what we were talking about, I guess. Underutilized.
Underutilized.
All right. Well, underutilized, to utilize a genre, you're taking from the genre and you're utilizing it, whether within that own genre or in another genre. I mean, I'm going there, and I know you're going there too, which is that, the only genre that people kind of sequester off to the side and call something else, which is totally arbitrary and fucked up, is porn, which is a hell of a fucking important genre and basically pioneered a lot of what we call erotic scenes in film, came out of porn.
Porn, exploitation films, horror films, Hollywood has co-opted all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And every Hollywood
huge
movie,
profits.
Exactly. Even the superhero movies you're seeing right now, it's all been done before. It's just,
but with those other genres, it's seen as okay and homage, whereas people hide their fucking porn influences left and right, and they might not even be aware of it themselves.
Yeah, no. I mean, trust me, I know where my influences come from.
And you're like, they are pornographic,
they are pornographic films.
It's like, Jen, I'm studying right now. I'm studying.
I mean, my thesis paper is on the porno film Deep Throat and its cultural impact on the film industry.
Yeah, well, in the 70s, it was seen as more of a genre than it is now. I think porn has become such a machine that it's almost like professional wrestling, where it doesn't get the credit as theater or as performance that it should, because it's so ubiquitous and it's so much considered just its own thing that to talk about it with respect, people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, porn's just porn. You jerk off to it. Or what the fuck are you talking about? Wrestling's fake, therefore it's bad. People just sort of lump it into these very arbitrary categories when it's all part of the same thing. It's all fucking performance art. It's all showmanship. It's all art, Yes, there's ugly porn, but there's some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen have been in porn.
Yeah. Can you tell me one beautiful thing
I can.
Okay, I'm just out of curiosity.
Yeah, there's this porn actress named Lonnie Sanders who is amazing at giving blowjobs. And I'm not choosing as an example as somebody with a penis who enjoys blowjobs. I'm choosing as an example of somebody who loves visual depictions of beauty. And the fact that I can show you a video of it right now and you will be like, okay, I get it. That is beautiful.
Can you please show us?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Well, I like, to me, like, I'm listening to what you're saying, and like on like, I'm not really a consumer of it,
Yeah.
but I'm aware of it. Obviously, it's out there. Like, to me, my big thing is like, I think not looking at sort of the amateur and the influx of your neighbors making porn and putting it on the internet.
But there can be beautiful aspects in that, just like with homegrown cinema, I think. But again, they're obviously few and far between because there's so much porn that, like, for me or Mark, who digs through and finds stuff like by like Tinto Brass, or like, I don't know who your guys are, but for me it's Tinto Brass, Mario Salieri, a couple other guys.
Gerard Damiano I'm a big fan of his. I like Radley Metzger.
Joe D'Amato
Yeah.
did too. Like, a lot of these guys were like, you've probably never heard these names in your life, but for us, like, these are like, we're talking about Spielberg and Kubrick and whoever else.
There's your next documentary. Searching for Porn
Searching
Man.
for Porn Man. That's the next one.
Yeah. But you see,
Well, I wanted to do
I want
one
to
on-
see the poster, actually.
I wanted to do one on Deep Throat, but then somebody made that.
yeah,
So
I never ended up seeing that. Was that
it's
any
really good.
It is good. I'll have to check that out.
I was
but
going to
there's-
say, what is it called?
Inside Deep Throat.
Inside Deep Throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
There are a lot of.
it's narrated by Dennis Hopper, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. I love Hopper. But there are a lot of. It's a tricky thing because a lot of the surviving footage of that era is VHS copies to
Well, you can't
rips
even
online.
You
and
can't
stuff.
even get a copy of Deep Throat anymore with the original soundtrack. Like,
Exactly.
they've been replaced, and the soundtrack was one of the best things about that movie.
Yeah. It's very similar to what happened with Doctor Who, unfortunately, which is that the BBC didn't see it as viable to keep other than just airing it, so they taped over footage of Doctor Who episodes with just news footage, and they just reused those tapes. So a lot of the only surviving tapes are from people who held like an audio recorder next to their TV. Like there's some episodes of like the early Doctor Who where the only thing there is just audio recording, just because some kid was like, you know what, I like this show a lot. I don't know when it's going to be on again, so let me just hit record on my little audio recorder. And it's the same thing with porn, where like a lot of stuff got transferred to tape. A lot of the film just doesn't survive. There are ones out there, and people are archiving just as that's just as noble a thing as like Criterion archiving stuff. But it's few and far between. There's a lot of films that are just lost.
I'm gonna maybe, for lack of a better word, plug a Vancouver porno, which was sort of resurrected. Was made in the 70s called Sexcula. And I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but
I have not.
I'm guessing that it deals with.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Dracula sex comedy romp.
It's like Blackula, only with dicks.
Yes, a little bit, and a guy in a monkey suit and gets a bit kooky. But
Perfect.
Yeah, like there was the last surviving porn theater, I believe, in North America just shut down in Vancouver a couple years ago.
Oh wow!
And
there's one in Brooklyn I just found out about.
No way.
Okay? Because I mean, that's when we were told. That's probably Vancouver.
I'll talk about. Continue. I'll bring that up.
So this movie called Sexcula was kind of resurrected. They had a 35 mil copy of it.
Nice.
And it was recently transferred, and it's screened in Vancouver, and it's screened at like, I think in Montreal and somewhere in France, but it's amazing because it has that very Canadian Canucksploitation like 70s thing, like
a lot of loonies and bags of milk.
Well, yeah, something like that, but it's pretty remarkable because it's totally of that sort of Canadiana era. And when I watched it, I was like really taken by the fact that all the guys looked the same as they do now.
Oh, nice.
They're wearing, plaid shirts and toques, basically.
So it's like an unintentional time capsule.
It really is,
Yeah.
and it is available, and you can.
I got to check that out.
Sexcula.
That's way up my alley.
It is bonkers. It's crazy.
I love it already.
Yeah.
It's so funny that my fascination with the genre came from a dinner conversation I had with my dad when I was in high school.
Oh yeah.
And he mentioned that he was in the world's first porno feature.
What?
And that it was directed by the guy that directed Friday the 13th.
Jesus, don't bury the lead. Come on.
I was like, what? I was like, Dad, I like horror films. What are you talking about? Sean S. Cunningham? He's like, oh yeah, Sean. That's his name. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, and the guy Wes was there too, the Freddy Krueger guy. I was like, Wes Craven? He's like, yeah, they were like Wes was the producer and Sean was the director, and it was a movie called Together, and it starred Marilyn Chambers.
Was
Jesus
it
Christ.
shot in Vermont?
No, it was shot. My
Not
dad.
everything's shot.
Not
okay.
everything is.
Come on.
Although there was a porn shot up in St. Albans, but that's a
Was there any
different story.
shot on those Alpine slides?
No,
That'd be really
no,
something.
a lot of rug burn.
I'd be watching that right now.
But no, my dad, he's from Brooklyn, he's from the Bronx originally. His family's from there, and he loves Jones Beach. So every chance he can get, he'd go to Jones Beach. So
I grew up on Jones Beach.
Jones Beach, great place until the syringes started popping up on shore. But my dad is a bodybuilder, and he was walking around with his shirt off, flexing his muscles with his hot wife. He's been married 6 times, so this was like wife number 4, I think. I've lost count. But he's walking around. They see a film production in the distance. And they just stand there and they're watching it. And somebody comes running over to them, halfway through the shoot, and it's Sean S. Cunningham. He's like, "Hey," and my dad thought he was coming to my dad's wife because she looks hot. He figured he's going to ask her to be an extra because there's all these women walking around with their tops off. And he comes right up to my dad and he's like, "Hey, you have an amazing body. Would you like to be in this scene? We'll give you a wife and blah blah
Hey.
blah." And so my dad's in this little scene, and Sean S. Cunningham's first full-length feature film happened to be a porno. And my dad didn't know what they were going to ask him or have him say. They didn't even give him a script. They were just like, just be yourself and answer whatever comes to your mind. We're going to have a fake psychologist sitting at this round table. You're going to have your fake wife sit next to you with her top off, and he's going to ask you questions about sex. Just be honest with him. And so my dad is like, he's a Christian, he's very... even though he did write a book that dealt a lot with sex back in 1971 called Snowballing.
Oh my God.
He wasn't.
Did he invent it? Did he invent snowballing?
And no, he didn't. But
Because that would be a connection to like Scott
I
Mosier.
know, I was thinking the
That'd be
same
great.
thing.
Be like,
Wow.
Scott, my dad.
it all started back
He
then.
wrote the book on snowballing.
It is a book I want to make into a movie, though. It's about him being a ski instructor during the sexual revolution, which in the 60s, ski instructors were, they were getting laid left
Oh
and right.
man, I got to see.
So
this.
it's kind of like Anchorman with a ski instructor.
Wow.
I've always wanted to adapt it into a screenplay and get it to what's his name, Mr. Anchorman himself, Will Ferrell.
Wow.
But
Yeah, and Adam McKay and all them. Yeah.
but anyway, my dad's sitting in this scene, and the shrink is going around asking all these sex questions. And he gets to my dad, and he's like, "So, Frank, what do you think about oral sex?" And my dad is just not that kind of guy to come out and just say what he thinks
Yeah.
about oral sex. So he's like, "Well, that's a hard thing to say." He didn't realize that what he said was actually fun.
Yeah.
So
So that's in the movie.
that's in the movie, and the only copy of this movie I could find was from Germany. So my dad's line is dubbed in German.
Oh no! See, that's the problem with a lot of these fucking porn.
I know they all become German.
There are
Scheisser
ones
porn.
that, yeah, there are ones that only exist in like German dubs or Swedish dubs or whatever. It's just like there's no care.
They're the
put
only ones that
towards
appreciate
the,
real porn.
The archiving or whatever.
Rachel, she's like, "Get me out of here."
Eh.
But yeah, what I was going to say earlier was that I just discovered the other day that there's a porno theater in Brooklyn. I thought there were none. I thought the only thing.
Still open?
Yeah.
Is
Wow.
it like surviving, like vintage, like it's been there since,
Yep. And,
Wow.
it's one of those classic theaters that have been around since like the 20s. There are a
Floors
bunch
are
of
nice
those
and
in-
sticky for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Many layers. Yeah. Like there's this one, the Kent in Brooklyn, which is like very old surviving movie house. And now it's just like, a piece of shit.
See,
but
I miss
it's-
slimy,
it's-
scummy 42nd Street,
Yeah,
where it
we
was
miss-
just sex theaters and they would-
DNA for
you know,
all.
they would show like like exploitation films like Basket Case, and then
Exactly.
show Deep Throat right after. I mean, I
which
miss
for us is like
to
a
me, that's-
Friday night.
dude. I miss that part of New York. Not that I lived through it, but
Yeah.
I was a young kid when it was still kind of hanging around.
Yeah. So I thought that the only guys playing porn now was Anthology Film Archives. Sometimes they'll play like 35 millimeter prints of like, really rare, awesome shit. Because they play anything that's like really cool, including my movie. which
Nice. Oh, there you
Screen
go.
there. Nice little plug for me.
I was at the Lake Placid Film Festival and back in 2002, and they actually showed a 3D porn on 35 millimeter.
Oh man. So red and blue kind of 3D?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it that night because
That's pretty
I was
cool.
hanging out with the Trauma team. But
Oh, cool.
but yeah, I mean, it's good to see that there's still some people that appreciate showing the old prints.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I had a very interesting conversation with a Brazilian woman, and this came up, and she was saying how she's like, oh, I love, that, like, I won't even do the accent, but she was, telling me how much she enjoyed old 35 millimeter Brazilian porn because the music is fantastic.
It is.
It is.
No, it's
Absolutely.
Wow.
There's some great fucking porn soundtracks.
Deep Throat is, they re-released the album. It's on vinyl now. You can get it on CD with the original music, but the people that made that music are all anonymous. Because I don't know if you remember, Deep Throat was one of the first feature-length films in the United States that was getting tried and convicted by all the courts for even existing. First time an actor was brought into court and arrested for acting in a film.
Yep.
It still makes money though. I mean, like, I think it's very untapped. Like we actually tried to book Deep Throat. I've been trying to get Deep Throat at the Rio for a long time because we're licensed. We can screen it, and I'm like, we have a bar. Can we just make this happen? And I was in touch with the distributors, and he was telling me, because I was like, I really want to show, but I want to show it on 35. And they reprinted like 1 or 2 copies of the 35 to give around to film festivals and stuff. And I was like, that would actually be great because we have a projector and blah blah blah. And, but one of them, he warned me. He's like, it's not in great shape because I guess they played it in Mexico and like grains of sand got on the the celluloid or whatever. But he said, I'm going to warn you. He's like, whenever it's played on 35, the people, they come out to see it. Like, it's an event, right? It's not. It's not watching.
It's a fun movie to watch. I mean, you don't. Back when it came out, mainstream audiences were going in droves to go see it. My film teacher told me he went to go with his wife back in the 70s.
You're just seeing any other movie.
Yeah, it's hard for people to understand that today because of what porn has kind of become with the internet. And it's just sex scenes now.
Yeah, it's just thing. It's like this is what you watch when you're doing this.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. So the one in Brooklyn that I found out about is called Cinema Kings Highway, and it's 3 theaters. It's one for gay, one for straight, one for just a regular movie.
Awesome.
That's like the United Nations
of
sexy porn time.
It's like you pay $12, you can go in there for like the whole day if you want.
And it's
a lot of creepy dudes apparently. I really want to take a Smug Film trip there with John and Jenna.
And a hazmat suit.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Jeez, invite me when you do that, please.
Oh, I would love to.
A bucket of Pure Land and a hazmat suit.
Yeah, there's some guy that wrote a blog about like going there and like how creepy it was.
A lot of tissues.
I figure if you go in mass, then I think it should be fine.
Well, the one that closed down in Vancouver, I maybe it was the longest running in Canada. Maybe I shouldn't have said North America. It was called the Fox Cabaret, and it was like
a good name.
It was seedy and horror and whatnot. And it was recently converted into a club. And they had a really great blog post about cleaning up the Fox. And like they had like all these like CSI kind of, glow in the dark luminol shots of like, this is what the bathroom looked like and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
But the backs of seats were like glowing like Slimer.
It's not pretty.
That's how they actually did that effect, by the way. They all stood around.
Bill Murray was just shooting his
every single day. It took them years to just jerk off all into this one spot, and then eventually became this glowing green.
That's awesome.
It's a testament to his personality that his semen just can actually perform on cue. It's adorable.
Put enough semen of different guys in one area for that long time, and that's how you get Slimer. There's a practical effect, which is a beautiful thing. It's better.
They don't
than
have
CGI.
those anymore. Yeah.
Nowadays, if you want to,
Even John Waters' last film, I was disappointed in because he had cum in it, but it was CGI cum.
Oh,
What?
no.
It was a Dirty Shame. Yeah,
That's
I was
sad.
very disappointed. But he said he's not in the business to make the kind of films he was making back in the day.
But he hasn't really done anything since.
Well, he's
then,
tried.
right?
He wants to.
Oh, he does?
He really does. He said that the only reason he's not making films anymore is because nobody's financing the middle ground films. They're only financing,
which is very true.
Really cheap films or really expensive films. So filmmakers like him and David Lynch can't make films anymore. It's ridiculous.
They've been,
these amazing filmmakers.
Out.
Yeah,
he was in Life After Beth. Which
he was?
Yeah, he's in
I gotta
a horror
see that
film.
still.
Yeah, it's with Kat Dennings and he was
My
he
other
was in
wife.
that. Yeah, your other wife.
Hey, we're gonna have to fight over her. It's sad to see that state of the film industry, but
yeah, it's just a weird patch. We'll get out of it, I'm sure.
I mean, that's why Joe Dante's not making films anymore.
Yeah, well, he made that one, the fucking
making.
The Hole or whatever, which sucked ass. But,
yeah.
All right, so we don't have a third question, But Rachel, you want to come up with like a question that we can all answer just randomly? And
I
then
mean,
we'll
I guess,
get out of here.
the obvious one, let's maybe talk about movies we've seen in 2014 that left an impact or that
I already did
made
an
us
episode
excited.
on that though.
Okay, well,
Shit.
okay.
No, just
What films didn't leave an impact?
Why don't you
Let's
just,
talk
like-
about the interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Oh Lord.
Please,
The
no.
interview.
Have you seen it already?
No, I just.
Okay.
I'm done. I
he's
don't
in
want to hear
protest.
about it anymore. It just feels like one of those like alternate reality game things where like the movie doesn't actually exist, but everybody pretends it
Everybody
exists.
pretends.
It's all just like this thing that everybody's bought into. Like I don't believe it's an actual movie. That's my theory. I think everybody going online and watching it, like they watch it and then it's just like a documentary about, this alternate reality game that everybody's a part of. Because to bring it back to Interior Leather Bar,
I was going to say James Franco would actually
there
be
you
in a
go.
great position
Sounds
to
like a
make
thing that
this
James
horrible
Franco would do. Just
non-documentary.
make this thing that doesn't exist. But the thing that I loved about Interior Leather Bar is that I liked that, I like the whole thing of not knowing what is real and what is not when you're watching
Yeah.
a movie. I made a documentary myself, Rehearsals, where you're not sure what I've constructed and what's actually real. And, spoiler alert, it's all pretty much fucking just me shooting stuff. I'm just shooting it in a beautiful enough way that people thought like, oh, it's like you're watching a movie. It's like, oh, this is a state. No, it's just girls in their apartments and me with a camera. But I loved Interior Leather Bar because I liked how funny it was. I like when things are played with in like a funny way that you wouldn't expect. Like I thought that movie was going to be something entirely different. And it's just like this 40-minute funny pseudo documentary. And pseudo documentaries, they can go either way for me. They can be great or they can be just like infuriating because you feel like you got gypped. This was fun for me. I thought it was fun.
It's funny. I mean, I do recall watching it. I will, I was at a film festival in a room full of, gay men, and we were all kind of waiting for one thing to happen, and it never happened. It was just, the whole movie felt like a prank that never went anywhere.
See, that's the aspect that clicked with me for it, is because I also like that he was playing with the uncomfortability of like nudity and sexual acts in a way that, they do that a lot in comedy and it's very safe. It's like Jason Segel standing naked in like a movie and like, oh, haha. And
Look
like,
at my dick.
yeah, that's like the thread of like those
It was
kind
a
of,
puppet.
that's a thread of
was a
those
Muppet.
kind of,
Exactly.
those kind of comedies. They go that safe area now and that's become the safe area. Whereas actual like gay loving sex is this like thing that they wouldn't go into the area of. And that's somewhere that this documentary pseudo thing went, and they did it in a way to mine it, the uncomfortability and the funniness from the uncomfortability that you don't really see in comedies. And I would like that aspect a lot. It's not a great movie, but
No, it's not.
It was so different than what I thought that a lot of that shock aspect really made me love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, Interior Leather Bar was like, I guess, you're James Franco. People know who you are, and you've got money, and you can do things and put your name on them, and people will go to see them. That was like when I remember walking out of the cinema, and just that was the general read of the crowd. It was just like, yeah, well, thanks, James Franco. But I felt that way after his other film as well.
Did you see Child of God?
What? No, I don't.
That's his. Did you see that?
No, which one's that one?
That's the latest one, right?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that one yet.
No. Well, no,
Is it bad?
I still can't figure out if I love it or if I hate it.
That seems to be the area he's playing in with his own stuff.
I guess.
Well, the first one I saw was the one he made about being on General Hospital, and it was like,
Yeah, I still got to see that one.
He made
I
a
wanted
film
to
about
like
being on General Hospital.
Yeah, and he basically was like took like the scene that he was in that was very like tumultuous and all these things happen, and then like stick figures start being animated and strange things happen. But
That sounds like shit.
it never really. It's
Sorry,
like
Franco.
Yeah, Franco's
They can't all be winners.
It's a lot of sad trombone for
He
James
tries.
Franco in the documentary world.
I want to see the one he did on SNL. He did a Saturday.
I think that one's pretty straight.
Saturday
apparently.
night.
Like it's just a straight
Really?
up doc. That's what I heard about.
I heard it was
don't know.
this like student thesis or something. Actually,
Yeah. His perpetual studentdom. that he's sort of.
I've had a lot of people that have worked on his films. They say he's a nice guy.
I hear great things about him. John D'Amico interviewed Matt Rager, who he wrote As I Lay Dying with. Great stories about Franco.
Yeah.
Some of them that are in the interview at smugfilm.com. All right, so that's the end of the episode, I think. We got to probably pull the cord. It's getting a little long here. Both in our pants from talking about all this porno and both on the timeline on the recording device. But this was really fun.
Yeah,
Let's do any final thoughts, any short sentence that you want to spew out into the Smug film world. Mark, any short sentence you want to leave us with?
Just go to our website.
No, none of that shit.
You don't want
Come
that?
on.
Oh, you want a short
Give me
sentence?
something from the heart.
All right. Something from the heart. You go first.
Well, okay, if I was going to leave anybody with anything, it would be if a film called The Tribe is screening near you at any point in time.
What's with
this
these fucking advertisements?
year. Go see it.
Give them something.
Go see.
Let's give something pure.
Something pure.
Pure. Remark on The Room. Give them like not the movie The Room.
I was going to
But
say.
Go watch The Room.
Oh, hi.
we are sponsored
Hi,
today
Mark.
by The Room. No, people for some reason people that listen, they're always like, "Oh, I like when you talk about like books that are next to the people or DVDs
I
or whatever."
think it's okay. I'll remark. I think it's kind of adorable that you have Lloyd Dobler serenading you beside your bed.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm like,
Well, yeah,
you
that's like a
know,
pastiche. I have Lloyd Dobler, and then I have an original poster for the Sunshine Cinema, drawn by Dan Clowes. You know, not an original as far as like the one that he drew, but the first wave of them that he made.
Nice.
And then right next to that on the other side is the Rocky hands up. So I figured I was creating sort of like the hands up boombox thing and also a hands up Rocky thing. It was kind of like a deliberate like, yeah, get out of bed and do something, guy.
Oh.
It was like, you know.
So it has nothing to do with like your, eternal flame.
Oh, it,
hard-on
it
for
absolutely
Lloyd Dobler.
does.
Okay.
Gross Grosse Point Blank, that's my John Cusack
that is-
crush movie.
Yeah,
I love
he's-
that
I'm
he's
movie.
not,
pretty,
yeah, Say Anything I fucking adore.
Yeah.
But Grosse Point Blank, I've seen that 30
It's like
times.
such
maybe.
a perfect movie.
Oh, one of the best
So good.
written movies. So intelligent. Dropping like references to like Basque separatists in like a fucking romantic comedy. Whenever anybody's doing that, that's for me.
I'd say it's actually the apex of his hotness.
Oh yeah.
I'd put that. I mean, let's
That's
just get real.
Yeah.
You guys got your porn. Let's talk
Yeah.
about, for
He
the
is-
ladies.
Yeah.
Cusack,
I mean, if we
apex
want
of
to talk about
hotness.
porn, that's porn. Yeah. That's getting me off faster than half the porn out of there. So, all right. You need a sentence. Mark. Just remark about something else in the room. Give them
Something
a
else in the room.
theater of the mind here. Let's create like a.
I am so happy I'm
experience.
sitting in the Vincent Gallo section.
Yeah, behind him are two Vincent Gallo posters, Buffalo 66 and Brown Bunny.
I love Vincent Gallo.
Who doesn't? I mean, a lot of people, but me and you,
There's
we
a
love
lot of
him.
people that don't like him.
I adore the man.
I've always loved the man through all of his ups
Yeah,
and
seeing
downs.
his stuff, that was one of the things that like, you point to those moments of like making films. It's like, yeah, I want to do what he's doing. Not
Exactly.
exactly the same, but I want to do it the same fucking like, yeah, this is me.
Yep.
This is me on screen.
Doesn't matter how much money you got. Just
Yeah,
go out
just
and make the
fucking
fucking movie.
do the damn thing.
Yeah.
I guess my closing words, if I had to remark on anything, she's wearing a yellow scarf, and she has black glasses, not sunglasses.
Tortoise shell, but yes.
But, okay. Well, from this distance,
I understand.
we're very
Okay.
far away from each other right now.
Yeah.
But it looked like it could be black. He's wearing a flannel shirt. I mean, come on, he's an indie filmmaker. What was he going to show up
his
in here in
uniform.
a
Lives in
fucking
Vermont.
astronaut outfit? No, he's a fucking indie filmmaker.
He looks like a bum.
He's got a dirty hat on, flannel shirt, some khakis.
Is that like
white
a long john
socks.
shirt? You're wearing like an undershirt, like
Yeah,
a
that's my
long
long john
sleeve.
shirt.
Yeah.
He's got white socks that he
cold
probably bought
climate.
like a pack of 50 of at like Target when they're
I
having a
did.
sale.
I go
There
through
you
these
go.
like
I got
water.
you pegged. Hey, I'm in your industry too, guy. I know what you're all about.
And you're wearing socks with like thong shoes.
Damn right. I'm
That's pretty
going a
cool.
little
It's very camel
Japanese here.
toe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
here's the thing with like that. Like, I don't like walking with socks like just straight up on the ground. I feel too much temperature. To bring it back to temperature, the thing that you got on me about
Okay,
originally,
yes.
to bring it back to temperature, I don't like too much temperature difference. I'm like a cat in that way. Not in that I'm adverse to water, but that same kind of concept for the air.
A
And-
pussy.
Yeah,
Right.
No.
to bring it back to porn.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm trying.
No,
yeah.
yeah. So when I'm in the house, I usually rock, cheap Old Navy flip flops, and then I'll rock socks over it, and it creates this sort of divot in the foot, which is actually a Japanese thing.
Yeah.
They actually sell these socks in Japan, and you can get them here, but they're pretty expensive. That have a natural divot in them, so that you can wear flip-flops with your socks. And it's like a very comfortable thing. And I sort of create the divot. I've sort of created those socks over time just by doing it a lot. It's a process I heavily believe in and highly recommend to the listening community as well as yourself and Mark.
I'm going to do that when I go home.
Kind of reminds me of my grandma or something. In a lovely way.
Your grandma sounds fucking cool to me.
She was. She rocked a muumuu too, you know? Like,
she is up my alley. Yeah. So, wait, what else am I wearing? Black shirt, brown pants.
Looking good.
Yeah. I can't see what else she's wearing because there's a stool in the way. But all I see is a black long sleeve, yellow scarf, black, tortoiseshell glasses. Let's not get yelled at again. But yeah, so that's your theater of the mind for today. Thank you for listening. If you haven't already, sign up for Smug Film Club. You guys should too. It's fun. We just send you extra episodes. We send you audio commentaries for movies. We send you all sorts of bonus free shit. That's the only time we're ever in your inbox. We're never going to be there unless we're giving you something for free. We're not going to tell you when episodes go up. We trust you to figure that out on your fucking own. It's every week. That's easy to remember. So, free stuff. That's the only time we're in your inbox. It's fun. Smug Film Club. Be a part of it. All right, guys. Say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.